Hi, everyone. Dorothea Hendricks here, your communication coach and presentation skills and the art of speaking. Today, we're going to be looking at tip number 4. Previously, we looked at tip number 1, which was all about eye contact, making sure that when you're speaking, when you're giving a presentation, you are looking at your audience. You're bringing them into your presentation world because you're looking at them. And if you're doing things on Zoom the way I am right now, it's looking at that Zoom camera, hoping that I am engaging you on the other side of the screen. Eye contact. Tip number 2, we looked at 5 approaches that you can use to engage your audience, capture their interest right out of the get-go. Or you can use any one of these 5 approaches during your presentation to kind of maintain interest, keep the attention as you're moving through your talk. Tip number 3 was about including your audience, looking at the pronouns we can use to include our audience, the us, we, our. And tip number 4 today is about sentence variation. So sentence variation. In the English language, we have 4 basic types of sentences. They are the declarative, the interrogative, the imperative, and of course, the exclamatory. The declarative. That's the one we're using most of the time. I'm using it right now. It's where I'm giving you information, giving you a fact, telling you something. The declarative is telling. Then we have the imperative. The imperative is the command. Get the report, go to the office, sit down. The exclamatory. Well, the exclamatory is what I call that emotional shout out. Watch out, car coming, or look out, look up. It's that emotional outburst. And then, of course, we have the interrogative, which is the question, asking a question. Who, when, where, what, which person, did they, would they, could they? So we're asking questions. How many of us have sat through presentations? Oh, mercy. And just had the speaker tell again and tell again. And somewhere in that telling, what's happened is our intention has dropped. We've opted out and are thinking about other things because the presenter was boring. The presentation was boring. All we heard was somebody talking at us. As a presenter, it doesn't matter where you are, if you're working for a company, if you're entrepreneurial, if you're wherever you are, if you are presenting, if you're giving a talk, it's your job, your responsibility to be interesting and engaging. And we can use sentence variation as a way to help us engage our audience even more than maybe what we're doing right now already. So if you're adding a story, telling a story, why not insert the command into your story? Or why not an exclamatory? Add that emotional intrigue or some kind of a buildup. And the story can be serious. The story can be even talking about the budget. There's nothing wrong with inserting the exclamatory. Look at this. The budget. Whatever it is, you are adding a different dynamic, a different emotion, as opposed to just giving a statement. What about asking a question or a series of questions? They can be the what if, or what would you, looking at this information, what do you think would be the best option? Of these 3 options, which do you think would be the best for our organization? Looking at all the facts that we have in front of us right now, what do you think our decision should be? You're asking people, ask for their input, get them involved, get them engaged in the presentation. It's our job. It's our responsibility as speakers. Whether you're a professional speaker paid on the circuit or whether you're speaking as a supervisor, as a manager, as a team leader, it's always your responsibility to engage, bring people on board, and leave them thinking, giving them more when they leave than what they came with when you started your talk. So it doesn't matter if you're giving a presentation on finances or if you're onboarding employees or talking about a promotional campaign. Think about incorporating sentence variety. So instead of just using the declarative where you're telling, Add in a command, the imperative. Add in the exclamatory. Bring in some questions to get those mental wheels turning and get your audience to think. Next time, we'll be looking at tip number 5, and tip number 5 will be about the question and answer session. Until then, wishing you mountains of success.